Let's get one thing straight. I will be the very first person to glaze Karmine Corp GC because I absolutely adore this team. But we have to be honest, this split, it was kind of messy. Karmine Corp came in as the reigning champions after a dominant debut at the start of the year, and they were seen as favourites to repeat the success of their Split 1 title. With the G2 looking shakier than ever, with constant role swaps, further player changes, and GX in a leadership flux, this should have been KC's time to shine. Instead, the group stage felt like a slip, a trip, and a fall. An intense 2018 decider against the contenders team Twisted Minds, losses to every single one of the other big four of G2, GX, SK. By the middle of the groups, KC sat at 3-4, dangerously close to missing playoffs altogether. And this wasn't a case of, oh, the opponents just got good. This was KC being punished for poor Valorant. It was not the disciplined KC with good strategic depth and synergy that we saw in Split 1 and that I praised and fell in love with. This was a team exposed, punished for faltering fundamentals, lack of synergy, and losing confidence in maps and matchups they realistically should have had control of. At one point, it looked like the back-to-back dream was over and KC weren't even gonna make it out of groups. They looked vulnerable. With moments where they were forcing risky plays after going down in leads early on and getting punished further, the fact is, KC themselves weren't playing to their standard. The pressure of defending that Split 1 trophy seemed to be dragging them down. By the end of groups, KC just barely scraped through, even forced into a knockout round before the playoffs, another rematch against Twisted Minds. They survived in 3 maps. But again, it wasn't convincing, and as a result, some fans even started to doubt them going much further. I.e. me. I will admit, I had my doubts, okay? I was so worried. But suddenly, just as the real double elim playoffs arrived, everything seemed to click. It seemed that the series against Twisted Minds in the knockout stage helped them realign their thoughts, made them realize that they truly are the KC. And naturally, the playstyle and consistency was restored. From there, they didn't drop another map until the grand finals. Having a clean win against G2, including a brutal 13-2 on G2's own map pick, another 13-2 on Haven versus GX in the upper finals, and in the grand finals, once again facing GX, even after losing Icebox 13-8, after just scraping by on their own map pick of Haven, having to get a 3-9 comeback into a 13-10 victory, with GX staring down championship point headed into map 4 of Lotus, out of nowhere, KC fired back, with a ruthless 13-1 victory, harnessing the energy that carried into Sunset map 5 to close out the title in KC's favor.
No, the clock's already gone! 13-8! KC, Glance, bought enough time, and they have claimed the title yet again. 13-8, 13-1 before it. There can be no doubt this is a deserved victory.
But the resilience was something forged in the group stage. Truly, the trials and tribulations they faced during the lowlights of this split made them into the back-to-back champions they are now. And that really is the story of Split 2 for KC. Because here's the truth. KC didn't win Split 2 by playing flawless Valorant. They won because they mentally refused to break. For instance, the Twisted Minds matchup in group stage had it all, and it feels like it encapsulated what KC were like this split through thick and thin. Map 1, KC started off with a 3-0 lead and ended the half 3-9, but they were able to fight their way all the way back to a 13-11 victory. Then going into the third, we had a map that lasted an hour and a half, a 2018 scoreline where hero plays and clutches were everywhere, not only to keep KC in the game towards the end of regulation, but also then to survive the 14 rounds of OT. You can't deny the leads lost in group stage games as well, against G2 especially, or getting smashed out of the park by SK and Lotus, were early warning signs something wasn't right in the GC camp. Even having 2 10-2 halves in the match against Zarans just showed how streaky their matches were going. It felt like a coin flip. of what team would show up from the KC side, because they did show moments of insane gameplay, but they also showed those moments of pretty poor Valorant. But sometimes there were moments where KC showed us why they truly are the champions. In moments where maps look lost, moments when others would have already given up, the players on KC refused to. And every single time there was one of the players that tried their very best to step up and carry them across the line. These were KC's hero moments. Look at Haven, down 3-9, it was an individual resilience in Anacilia's clutch into an Alkia 1v2 that sparked that insane comeback.
Giant X running away with it, and it's Alkia to close the gap.
Lotus, Glance back-to-back 1v1s in the final rounds of attack weren't just rounds won and the map closed, they were also statements of harnessing the high momentum that they were able to take into the final map. Sunset then, Alkia running it down mid with Anacilia's ult to secure championship point. Also, an honourable mention to the group stage Alkia clutch on 1 HP against Twisted Minds. For me, that is the most memorable clutch of this entire split. And that's really the story of Split 2, because if we're honest, KC didn't win by playing flawless Valorant. They carried that belief that they could still win. This is what separates champions from the rest of the pack. Competitive Valorant is as much about handling pressure, adapting when things go wrong, and keeping faith in each other, as it is about strats and just simply shooting back. I think the main thing KC have improved and been able to fall back on for the victory of Split 2 has to be on the mental side of things. Now, the question is, can KC take this mentality and lessons learned from Split 2 into Split 3 and possibly to the world stage of GCC in Seoul? With 150 points already banked, they're almost guaranteed to represent EMEA in Seoul. For Safia, GX and Anacilia, this would be their first ever GCC appearance. For Glance and Alkia, it's a long-awaited return. But to compete in Split 3 and internationally, the cracks that we saw in Split 2 of the shaky fundamentals, the slow starts, and hints of major instability and inconsistencies in the roster, they need to be addressed. The good news, Anacilia has already said that personal issues outside the server and team that have affected certain players' performance have been resolved. And behind the roster, KC's staff, from Smart 7 as the tactical coach to performance coaches, they have the support to help them with all aspects of the competition. Eras in Valorant can fall fast, but right now, this is KC's time to seize. The blue wall is higher than ever, and until someone proves otherwise, they are the current team to beat in EMEA. Also KC, can we make a deal? If the girls win Split 3, can I please get a pink jersey? Please? Pretty please as well. But all jokes aside, if you like this video, you'll also love the team profile video I did for KC when they won Split 1. You should see it on the screen here. You should definitely check that out. Also make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming player profile on Anacilia. Check out my Twitch for Split 3 watch parties and follow my Instagram for daily GC recaps, and join my Discord to chat anything everything related to GC and Valorant. I think I got everything. Otherwise, my lovelies, I will see you next time. Mwah. 13th hell.